Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Global Talkative Series, a platform to hang out, collaborate, and inspire one another. And on this show, we've been blessed with amazing set of wonderful speakers from around the world, individuals who made some exceptional, progress in their chosen field of endeavor, and they're coming on this show to share their world of experiences with our audience. And today's not an exception. I've got somebody, a friend in the house, a sister that'll be discussing with us on today's show. So like we did on this show, I'm going to bring her in on Instagram because we're reaching right now from Global Talkative Series Studio here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we're streaming live real time on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So I'm going to bring her in on Instagram, and then I'll read her profile, and then we'll go into the discussion. So she's going to be joining us anyway from now on Instagram. Okay, that is wonderful. So, on today's Global Talkative series, I have a guest in the house. Her name is Shalewa Onoyemi, content creator and food blogger. And today's topic is gastronomic cultures of African cuisine. Now, you all love food. We all love food, and food is an essential part of our life. And
Yes, it is.
also, it's just more than what we eat to keep ourselves healthy.
Yeah,
It has something to do with our culture, our heritage, and that is why it is important for us to, talk about this, especially during this month of, artists, month of artists, especially in our province. And I'm going to read the profile of our guest to you, and then you can get to understand the person we're talking to on today's live chat. The name of our guest, like I said, is Shalewa Onoyemi. Now, she is the creator behind the Yum Cuisine, a food blog page that showcases the richness and authenticity of African delicacies through content creation, recipes, meal plans, classes, and brand promotions. The goal is to build a community of food enthusiasts here in Calgary and around the world. And I want to appreciate those who are joining us right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome our guest, Shalewa Onoyemi. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much for bringing me on your show today. It's a real pleasure.
So, how are you enjoying your Labor Day? Because today is the Labor Day. It's a free
I
holiday in
know.
Canada.
I know. Yeah. Well, typically, I don't work on Mondays. So it's just like every other Monday. The only difference is that the kids are not in daycare. So we're
Mm.
all home together. But yeah, it's pretty a restful day. And
Hmm,
yeah.
that's amazing. Thank you for those who are joining. I can see DN2 Kitchen joining us on Instagram. Malik on YouTube says, Larry and Shalewa, some chat we've got today. Thank you for all those who are joining us and all of those who are joining us from around the world. We have viewers on Instagram, on YouTube, and Instagram, and live and Facebook. And if you have any question for our guest, please, don't just type in your questions, and then we'll do our best to answer the questions. And right about now, I got some information that I saw somewhere in a magazine, and I want to read that to give us a background into this topic. Now, gastronomy is the study of the relationship between food and culture, the art of preparing and serving rich or delicate and appetizing food, the cooking styles of particular regions, and the science of good eating. Now, gastronomy is about much more than food. It reflects
Yeah.
the culture, heritage, traditions, and sense of community of different people. It is a way of promoting understanding among different cultures and of bringing people and traditions closer together. That was called from the United Nations World Tourism. Now, the first question I have for our guest today is, what is African food culture? What does it mean to you?
Okay. African food culture to me basically is about the kind of food that we like as Africans, right? The
Yeah.
truth is, culture generally has to do with your beliefs, your norms, and your way of life as a group of people. And
Mm,
so the African food culture is about the kind of food that Africans like. And in as much as we're grouped together due to the fact that it's one continent, it would amaze you to know that there are a variety of meals, right, liked by the different parts in Africa. You
mm,
understand? So basically, I think that's what it means to me.
mm,
That's synergy between our culture and the kind of food we like.
That
Thank
is
you.
amazing. Thank you very much.
You're
Now,
welcome.
uh, the next question I have for you is, how does culture affect cuisine?
Yeah, so culture affects cuisine in different ways, to be honest. First, you have to look at your traditional beliefs, you have to look at your religious beliefs, because all
Mm,
these things come to play in what
mm,
you eat as an individual. So, I'll give you an example. I'm
okay.
Nigerian, I'm from the Yoruba speaking part of Nigeria,
Yeah.
and we have specific food that is peculiar to the geographic part, right?
Okay.
So the fact that I'm Yoruba doesn't mean that my favorite food will be amala. I don't
Yeah.
know if you understand, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
amala is popularly liked by or popularly linked to people from Ogbomoso,
Mm,
right? That's just an example. I'm from Ondo State. My part of Ondo State, our delicacy is pounded yam. I don't know if you understand. So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So what I'm just trying to say is yeah, what I like or what I sorry,
Don't
I
worry.
am distracted by my kids who
Yeah.
have found their way downstairs. One
Okay.
minute, please. Yosola, can you please go back upstairs? Thank you.
Go
Okay,
ahead. Go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, can you take the question again? Sorry.
Oh, so the question is, how does culture affect cuisine?
Okay.
Different backgrounds, eat different food. So how does a culture have a lot to do with our cuisine? In what way?
Yes, okay, thank you. So culture affects cuisine based on the fact that your beliefs as a person, right? The beliefs of your people impacts the kind of meals that you've been introduced to from when you were a child, so to speak, right? And then
Mm,
you get used to that. I don't know if you get so for
yeah.
instance now, as a Yoruba person, like I said
Yeah.
before, we so much like spicy food. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people tend to associate Yorubas with
With
pepper.
spicy food.
You
Yeah.
exactly. So your culture plays a significant role. Also, there are some cultural beliefs that limit the eating of certain things,
Mm,
right? So I've heard story in the history about maybe places where they're not allowed to eat mushrooms because maybe mushrooms protected them from something during a war, or I don't know if you get right. And so
yes.
because
Yes.
of that, they won't eat mushrooms, right?
Mm,
Religious beliefs as well plays a part in your cuisine. For example, the Muslims, they don't eat pork, you know. So your culture as a group or the culture you grew up with generally impacts what you get to eat and what you get to like at the end of the day.
mm.
Thank you.
Now, thank you very much for this
You're
explanation.
welcome.
Like, our culture affecting the food based on the region we all come from. Now,
Yes.
we are in Canada, in the Western world. We are we we are from Africa, and our topic today is gastronomic cultures of African cuisine because many, as in recent times, there has been little to no attention focused
Yeah.
on African food. And that is why I want to share this space with our global audience on the importance of, the variety and the, diversity that we have in African
Yes.
cuisine. Because indeed, I'm from Yoruba region. I love spicy. People are like, this guy, your spicy eating ability
It's another level.
level. Because that is the only way I can just survive, and that's
Yeah.
part of me. So, and I know this is not just like it's peculiar to some other part of cultures. So, the question I have is, what did Asian Africa? What did they eat in Asian Africa? How the origin of food and culture? What is the
Yeah.
the food from the way back then?
Okay, so first and foremost, way back then, most of the meals they eat would be from farm to table, right?
Mm,
You know, so I would say it was largely organic, still
mm,
is, right?
mm,
And it was made up more of vegetables, meats, and a variety of different things. Well, our forefathers obviously didn't eat noodles and they didn't have pizza, you know.
yeah.
So, yeah, they ate mostly things they could farm, you know, things the produce from their farmland is what
Mm,
they ended up eating. So you would have yam or pounded yam, or, you know, you would have the same yam used to make maybe porridge and all of that. But at the end of the day, it was mostly, in fact, fresh ingredients. They did not really have refrigerators,
mhm,
so it's not like they're stacking their meat or fish or whatever in the freezer for months and all that, like some of us do now. So it would be a typical meal in a maybe typical household back in those days would be
yeah.
made up of maybe a freshly killed bushmeat,
Mhm.
you
Or
know.
venison, or what do you call venison?
I know, right?
Yeah,
Smoked to perfection.
yeah.
A nice made, maybe pounded yam or something, or maybe rice. They
Mm,
used to eat lots of grains as well.
yeah.
Um, and a properly prepared pot of vegetable or stew, right? Made from farm produce and all that. So
Mm,
yeah, back in the days there were no processes in the old meals, right? There was no product, there was no processed food, so to
yeah.
speak, in ancient Africa. It was
Mhm,
mostly fresh food from farm to table. And yeah,
mm. Now,
pretty much.
will you say that actually affects our lifestyle? Health, the way of life, longevity.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm,
Absolutely. Of course, when you eat organic, right, it strengthens your well-being. It ensures that you're healthy. You understand? So because there is no chemicals, there is nothing in it. It's just straight from farm to table, right? So it definitely guarantees longevity, which is one of the reasons why they used to live long back in those days, right? And yeah, they had everything fresh, you know. They would tell you, in fact, they didn't used to fall sick, you know,
hmm.
even for their medications back then, they would use their herbs and all of that to make the drinks that they would consume. And all those things truly, truly, truly does help. So yeah,
Mm,
I'd say our forefathers, bless their souls, now
mm.
I think they had it good. They really
Yeah.
had it good.
Now, to buttress what you just said now, because I remember my dad was a farmer. As a matter of
Okay.
fact, at some point I grew up on a farm in the Saoke, farm settlement in Lesha, Osun State. And to the best of my knowledge, I've never seen my dad, walk into an hospital for any medication till the
Exactly.
day of his death. For once, I remember, just to shed more light on living healthy, eating organic, fresh, because I noticed while on the farm, my dad goes into the bush, cut some kind of different leaves. I'm still regretting not having a documentation of those kind of leaves. He
I
brings
can
them,
imagine.
and then you just know some roasted, some cooked, some boiled, and he drinks. And the fowl, everything is there, and not to just take much of our time. it's been a it's always like an exciting time when you go to the farm because you have access to that. And
Yeah.
what do you think that how can we go back to that? Is there a possibility, is there a way in which, how can we in a very cheaper way, let me use the word, because these days everything is genetically modified, the food is grown with this kind of chemical, all of that, and then we've seen a lot of issues with people's health. Now, how do you think, in a way that will be affordable, can we go back to that kind of lifestyle of eating fresh and raw food?
Oh, well, for me, I try to do a lot of organic, even
Mm,
now, because of course I know what the benefits are, right? So organic, of course, doesn't come cheap, but
mm,
when you know what the benefits is to you, I would rather buy a crate of 30 eggs for $11 than buying a crate of 60 eggs for $13, if you
mm.
understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just try to it's what I feel is right for my body. And
Mm,
yeah, because what you just said now is actually true. I don't recall my dad to being sick, like it
mm,
hardly happened. In fact,
mm,
personally, I am I love to cook a lot, and that's
mm.
one thing about me. And people are always like, Charlie, you cook every day, how do you do it? You know, I don't store food in the
Mm.
freezer. Like I can store it in its raw stage, but once I cook it, I'm consuming it and I'm moving on to the next meal. You
That is
know, and
amazing.
yeah, that's something I kind of got used to growing up, because where I lived in Abuja, we had like this mosque opposite my house,
Yeah.
and they had like a little mini mart somewhere in the mosque. So they had some, we call them abokis and
Yeah.
malams.
Yeah.
They sell, vegetables, meat, but everything in little quantities just to be able to last people in that estate for that day. You
Mm.
get. So we pretty much got spoiled by that. If we want
Mm.
to maybe cook anything, we just go buy what we want to cook. We cook it, we eat it, we move on. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
lifestyle, I brought it with me here, and I just continued it that way too. So I would buy things in bulk, but I would not cook it in bulk. I would cook it as and when I want it, because the fresher, the better, really. I
Yeah.
don't want to freeze vegetable for 1 month. I
Mm.
don't know. I just feel like
That
it's
is
it.
that is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much. Thank
you're
you so
welcome.
much. Yeah. Before going to the next question, I just want to use this opportunity to appreciate those who are joining us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Fun Depot, thank you. Ayapa Mati, thank you. Create, thank you. D2 Kitchen, thank you. Charles Osuji, thank you. Ria Montana, Oluwadayo, Adiemo, and all those who are watching us all around the world. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, do post a question on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, and we'll do our best to answer the question. This is still the Global Talkative series, and our topic today is gastronomic cultures of African cuisine, and our guest today is Shalewa Onoyemi, content creator and food blogger. Now, based on all what we've been saying so far, in your estimation,
Hmm.
what African country has the best food?
Oh wow.
Don't you are a Nigerian, so be fair.
I am a Nigerian to the bone. You can even see my flag, eh?
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, the African country with the best meals is Nigeria. I
Why?
have eaten.
Because that question has to be loaded because they're saying Nigeria, so you have to be ready to defend it because a lot of people will be asking, no, 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 you've not
Yes,
tasted
I
the food
will
from this
defend
country,
it.
so let's just
I've been
go ahead.
privileged to try food from a couple of African countries, to be candid. And in all fairness, African meals and African cuisines are made with a variety of spices. I give it to them. I give that to them. Like, it's just amazing the things they would combine and how it would come out, right?
Yeah,
But I choose Nigeria as the best because, trust me, pretty much every state, I won't even say ethnicity now, pretty much every state in Nigeria has like a cuisine that is typical to them, right? And we'll have what,
yeah,
like 36 states plus the FCT, that's like
yeah.
37,
Mm,
right? So I was born, for instance, in Lagos. I grew up eating certain meals. Then we moved on to Abuja, and I lived like most part of my life there. So I've tried meals from, but while growing up, of course, I've been to Jos, I've been to Kaduna, I've been to different parts of Nigeria, and I've tried different kind of meals. And the richness of each meal just wows me. I don't know if you understand the ingredients they put in it. It's on another level. Like, when you try, for instance, now let's say you eat the amala and ewedu, right? There's this flow. There's just this thing about the way it goes. It's just amazing. It's like a match made in heaven. Then you find yourself trying like afang soup. I don't know if you understand. It's
yeah.
on another level. I don't know, but both of them are equally very rich, right? And
Mm,
then something as easy as rice in tomato sauce, which is our famous jollof rice. You
mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah,
that meal on its own, it's in a world of its own, especially when it now has that smokiness to it. As
mm,
in, like, see, I'm even describing the food. I love food.
yeah,
I'm an unapologetic foodie, right?
yeah.
So yeah, so you have so many cuisines in Nigeria. Like, there's just a lot, starting from our street food, the suya, the puff puff, the dundu, the hot akara. Like, everything is just amazing, including those things that were cooked with minimal or no effort. Those things that our grandparents would make without curry time. My
Mm,
grandmother, for instance, she would make egusi with locust beans. Do you understand? She
yeah.
wouldn't even add Maggi to that soup. But if you
Mm,
taste that soup, trust me, you bite your tongue.
mm,
Like, she would make it with smoked catfish. Then she would put iru. Sometimes she would add ogiri, which is even more, you
mm,
know, concentrated than the locust beans itself. But
mm,
the outcome of the soup, I think most of it, actually, they get their richness as well from that palm oil that they use.
yeah,
That I can't even begin to break it down.
mm,
But as far as I'm concerned, I've had some meals from Ethiopia as well. I went to a restaurant here in Calgary, and it's an Ethiopian restaurant. And the meals were so good. They had something similar to our suya, but it was less spicy. And
Mm.
for me, it's like suya, no pepper.
It's a
It's
no
just not
go.
balanced.
Yeah.
Which goes back to what you said earlier. The question you asked me, how our culture affects food, right?
Yeah.
Because as a Nigerian growing up eating in Nigeria, everything, all my understanding is when you have, thinned out steak, right, and you put it in that skewer, then there
Yeah.
has to be pepper in it. So if
Mm.
you make it any other way, it's just like no.
Mm.
I don't know if you
Mm.
get, yeah.
I
So
do.
I've also tried yeah, and I've actually been to Ethiopia as well, not just the restaurant here, right? En route to Dubai anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've also tried some of their meals as well, which wasn't bad. It was really good. But my brother, I will give it to Nigeria. There
Mm.
is no Nigerian delicacy that they would cook for you that you would not be like, oh my gosh, what is this? Even here in Canada, when I host friends, right, and they come, including Caucasians and different people, they're ready to, Indians, they try my jollof rice, for example, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. They try puff puff, and they're like, wow. Like when people want to go for potluck, right, and they take jollof rice or they take meat pie and puff puff,
Yeah.
those are like the first things to always finish, because it is just so good. So
Mm.
yeah, without dragging the topic too long, my Nigeria has the best meal in Africa. Thank you.
Well, some folks would think maybe because you're from Nigeria, that is why you're so rooting for Nigeria. Because according to some data, from different,
Yeah,
it said Ethiopia being Africa's oldest and independent country offers best of both worlds. An
yeah,
ancient cultural heritage and a unique, delicious cuisine. Consisting of vegetable, spices, meat, and varieties of bread, which is more or less closer to because not so many Africans do eat spices, vegetables, bread, and all of that. So Ethiopian is, cuisine
yeah.
is a bit closer. So, well, you are the guest, and we're gonna go by your judgment. So,
Yes, boss.
congratulations to Nigeria, for that saying that this is you have the best food, and I will probably encourage you, if you're an audience, if you've not tasted Nigerian food, maybe the jollof rice or the suya or the porridge or the moi moi or the banku. Oh, sorry, banku is from Ghana.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're not tasting of this food, maybe
If
you
you've
want to
not
try it, and then you
tried,
can be the judge, and then
mhm.
can just post your comments, when you see this video. Now, we have a question from Malik.
Okay.
He said, how do we preserve the African food culture, especially in the diaspora?
Well, I would say try to eat more of African food. That's one of the ways you can preserve that culture, especially for people that have family, for example. I know people that have kids here and they would not feed their kids Nigerian delicacies because they're like, oh, we're in a Western world now. They need to get used to eating mac and cheese and
Mm.
pizza and all of that. Right? My kids eat anything, right? But they love their Niger food, right? They go to school and they have to eat what they feed them in school, which is of course the westernized meals and all of that. But then they come back home and then they have to eat poundo and egusi soup or amala and ewedu soup. And I don't know if you understand. So as
Yeah,
they grow, of course, they're used to having the best of both worlds. And
yeah.
that way, I'm very sure that they would also pass it on to generations after them. But then
Mm.
when you come to a new country like Canada, for example, and all of a sudden you throw away all your, you know,
Heritage.
Africanness,
Yeah,
I don't know if you understand,
yes.
then it's going to be hard for you to preserve that, right?
Okay.
Another thing is, thankfully, we have a lot of African food vendors. All
Mm.
right, we have people that cook food, we have people that sell the raw food. You can cargo your food if you want from Nigeria, from wherever you are. You get, so those things are the ways that you're able to preserve that African food culture,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So yeah, you just have to make the move, take the step, and because if you don't do nothing, it's just gonna fizzle out
Yeah.
eventually. It's just going to be a thing of the past, like, oh, once upon a time there used to be jollof rice. And people like Larry are doing the best they can as well to preserve this heritage through the jollof wars you did, for example,
Thank
right?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, things like that would showcase that uniqueness of the African meal to a wider audience, even to the global
Audience.
audience. People would be like, okay, what is this jollof rice about? And now you're not only preserving that cuisine, just for Africans, you're also showcasing it to a wider world,
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you'd ask, I'm sure if you ask your friends that are not Africans to name a Nigerian meal or an African meal they know, jollof rice would be one of the first five things they would name, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we just need to create more awareness. We need to create more publicity, and we need to ensure that in our own circles as well, we are still dishing out these meals. Pretty
Thank you so
much.
much. Thank you so much. While
You're welcome.
while you mentioned the Jollof War, we still let me just drop this here right here for our
Okay.
audience that Ethnic Festival of Art and Culture is still coming February 26, 27 in Calgary, and there's another edition of Calgary Food War. Now I'm not going to review
All
whether it's going
right.
to be Jollof Rice War or whatever, but we're going to have another food contest coming up February 26, 2021. Now, with all what you're saying regarding preserving our food, our culture, the variety of food we have across African continents, and how wonderful, lovely and tasty this food is. The
Yeah.
question I have now is, why is African food not so popular?
Okay. Firstly, I would say lack of publicity,
Mm,
right? There is not that awareness about it. You wouldn't believe that even here in Canada, there are people that when they find a Nigerian food vendor, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea this was available here.
yeah.
I haven't had Edikaiko in 20 years." I don't know if
Mm,
you understand,
yeah.
because they didn't even know that they could get it here in Canada. So that awareness is one bridge, one major bridge that is
Mm,
missing. It's like a major link that we need to work on, to be honest. People need to know more about our food. People need to know how to. So you need to know about the food. You need to know how to get the food. You need to know where to get the food, right?
mm,
So I feel like the lack of publicity, number one. Number two, there are Nigerians pretty much everywhere in the world, right?
yeah.
And it actually saddens me. It makes me super sad when I go to food courts and I cannot find a single African restaurant. I
Mm,
don't know if you understand.
yeah.
So, for instance, you go to a mall, you would see Chinese cuisines, you would see Japanese cuisines, you would
Exactly.
see the typical westernized food and all of that, but nothing African. I
Mm,
think another reason, and I think the reason for that as well, is the cost involved.
yeah. Or
You
setting up
understand?
a kind of shop or restaurant or something like that.
Yes,
Mm,
yes, the
mm,
cost involved.
mm,
I don't think people are ready to take things to the next step by investing so much in this kind of things. So, for example, even to cook food in Canada, right, or
yeah.
in Calgary, you need to have a food safety license. You need to have your food permits. I don't know if
Yeah.
you understand.
Yeah.
So all those steps and the cost, but that one isn't so expensive. But generally, let's say you want to get a restaurant, you want to do that, of course, that would be very expensive. I feel like lack of publicity, lack of maybe, I won't say lack of funds because people have this money, but people are not just ready to invest that money in that venture. A
Mm,
lot of Africans that cook food kind of see food as a side hustle. I don't know
yeah.
if you understand. They
Yeah.
haven't really, they don't get to appreciate
Mm,
that uniqueness that comes with catering. Like,
yeah.
guess what? During this pandemic, Eco Hotels and Suites in Lagos, Nigeria, started to do food deliveries.
That is
I don't-
amazing.
Exactly.
That is
Before
amazing.
you'd have to go to Eco Hotels to eat your food
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's like a five-star,
Okay.
hotel and all of that. I don't know. But now the same things other vendors in your neighborhood have been doing for years. Like, oh, buy my food and I will deliver to you. And you've just been like, oh, please, I'm not interested. Bigger corporations are now doing that exact same thing. Do you
Mm,
get?
mm,
McDonald's, for example, somebody or some people started it and see how big it has grown. See KFC, for example. There's even KFC in Nigeria. There's
yeah.
KFC in Dubai. There's KFC everywhere. London. Everywhere. But we don't have that Nigerian company that has grown so big. To now start like a franchise. So people need to take food seriously.
Mm,
Cooking food is not a it's not something that you just stumble on. Like, let me just do it for doing sake.
a major business.
It is
Yeah.
a business, and it can be capital intensive setting it up to that standard. But
Mm,
trust me, once you do it, it will definitely, definitely, definitely pay out.
mm,
So I believe that those are the reasons why it's not as popular as it should be, because people haven't taken the step to do it that way, and they don't seem to see the value in it. But
mm,
it's more or less like a gold mine, to be honest.
mm,
Somebody just needs to take that
mm,
plunge, and
mm,
others
mm.
will follow.
I saw Dear into Kitchen saying that I think the fear of failing is one reason as well. People are afraid, if
Yeah,
I
you did
start,
right.
would I have a market, would I have, people that will, patronize me. I see Adetume Ajayi saying on YouTube, say, thanks, Shalewa, we need to preserve our food culture. And, talking in terms of making noise or publicizing that, I want to use this opportunity to give a shout out to people that I've worked with that I know nobody's paying me for this, but I'm just giving it out. For those who have taken the efforts,
Yeah,
I met Mrs. Bola son, the founder and the owner of uh,
flavors.
Flavors in Northwest. Not that she's paying me to do this, but she took the bold step to start the African food restaurant in Calgary. Now, Flavor was about 6 years plus. Some months ago, I go there to eat the food, and that is something that has encouraged. And in fact, when I was talking to her one of those days I was there, she said, "I have more foreigners coming to my restaurant to eat my food. Asians." Coming to
Yeah,
my food, and that's one of the ways in which I think we can, make our food popular. And also, I'm gonna give a shout out to DN2 Kitchen. I want to give a shout out to Spanish. Shout out to Delish, Delish Dre or Delish,
Alice
uh,
dining.
Delish Tiny, Sweet Coconut Butters, which other ones,
Oh yeah,
Spoonly, there's so many of them, making amazing meals, some of them. I remember there was a time I was talking to Mayor Nenshi at an event and I was engaged in a conversation and it was saying something about a lot of folks are in Calgary in our community now. They are doing some amazing work. They are creating things, maybe food or art or whatever, and that because they are afraid of coming out to showcase their unique talent. He said, my word for them in his own word is that, what, come out, let us see you.
yeah,
I do that. I promote people because it doesn't cost me anything to do that. Rather, I use the opportunity to, tell the world what you're doing. And also, Anike's Kitchen is another one that I've, really, patronized. She won the contest for the Nigerian Jollof Rice War
yeah,
competition, during the Calgary Food War. So, I think in your words and in the words of everybody, doing more, stepping
yeah,
out and taking up the challenge, to, cook this food and share this food. That
yeah.
way we can promote our culture and keep the culture alive. Thank you so much for that. And the next
You're
question I
welcome.
have for you is, what is cultural cuisine?
Larry, sorry. Please hold on.
Okay,
I need to close this door. There's a
okay,
noise coming
go ahead,
from
go ahead, go ahead. This is still the Global Talkative series. Our guest will be back shortly, but I want to use this opportunity to appreciate those who are joining us. Great Bookie, thank you for joining. We appreciate you. Alabari Nekon, thank you for joining. This conversation. Shegun Avelet Oedele from Nigeria. Eileen Agbonison, thank you for joining. Charles Osuji of Charles Osuji Law Firm, thank you. Oluwadayademo from the United States of America, thank you for joining. Our guest is back. So the question I have is, what is cultural cuisine?
Okay, so cultural cuisine is basically the food liked by a particular culture, right? Foods that are related to your beliefs, to your norms, to your tradition, simply put. Yeah. So, okay, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to just go build up on that question. Is that
Yeah.
what is the importance of traditional food? Why? Importance of traditional food, because we talk about cultural food. So
Yeah.
give us more information about that for those who are just joining us.
Okay, so I believe that the importance of traditional food is it helps to protect or preserve our African heritage, which is what
Mm,
we've been talking about the whole day, right? Um, the importance of African food is it helps us stay connected. It helps us to stay connected to our background, to our traditions. It helps us to remember exactly where we're coming from, right? Because it
mm,
is unique to us. You
mm,
understand? Because your culture is that thing that is unique to you as an individual, or rather your group of people, so to speak, right? So yeah,
mm,
the importance of traditional cuisine is it helps us to uh, yeah, stay, I don't know,
mm,
connected to our
mm,
roots.
mm,
Basically, it helps
mm,
us to preserve the African culture and custom. And
mm.
honestly, I feel like it cannot be overemphasized.
Yes.
That's just what it is.
Mm. Now, I want you to debunk a rumor that all African food are spicy. Is it true that all
No.
African food are spicy? Because you know, keep saying, oh man, you guys eat a lot of spicy. Like I said before, I am on a different level. But
Yeah.
like my daughter will want to eat eba with ketchup. I was like, what?
Yeah.
This is an abomination. How do you want to eat eba with
Oh
ketchup?
my
I don't
gosh.
know how can she just eba. I don't know if I each time. So why do we love spicy and why? Because I've got my own answer, but just you know, why is African food called for food spicy? Why do we love
Well,
spicy?
to be honest, pepper isn't the only spice that Africans use,
Mm,
right? Because pepper is like the basic thing that has earned us that title. Like, okay, you guys love spices and all. And to be honest as well, I would use my country, Nigeria, as an example. We have different ethnic groups in Nigeria, and the Yorubas are the ones known to love pepper.
mm,
So it's not like, oh, all Africans love pepper. So if in one country, it's just one particular part that is actually associated with pepper, that goes to show that there are a variety of cuisines in Africa, trust me.
mm.
And there are different spices that people use for different things that are not that peppery. I don't know if you understand. But a
Yes.
traditional or a proper African meal is made up of variety of spices that
Mm,
is guaranteed to just take you to taste bud heaven. As you
mm,
try each spoon, there's always that something different, something beyond curry in
mm,
your meal you get.
mm,
So yeah, I would debunk that rumor. It is not true. Not
mm.
all African food is spicy. There are
Okay.
just some that are. Yeah.
Now, before going to a personal question, I want to ask you some of your favorite meals to prepare, during the week, on weekends. I have a friend, her name is Kelly Basigal, very, culturally inclined, beautiful woman, a culture influencer. And she's saying, I can't wait to try some jollof rice.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
throwing open to any food vendors that is watching now. If you want to connect and give Kelly a taste of jollof rice, you know, just send us a message and I'll make sure that Kaylee gets the jollof rice. Kaylee is an amazing woman, a Canadian who loves to promote culture of other ethnicities. So she's saying, I can't wait to try some jollof rice. So if you're watching us on the Global Talkative series and you want to make a jollof rice for Kaylee, please reach out to us and then we'll make sure that we can connect you with Kaylee. And trust me, you are in good hands with Kaylee if Kaylee get to taste your jollof rice. So yeah, it's an open ticket for somebody who is watching this show right away, or you're going to watch it later. Now, on an average Monday morning, Tuesday morning, weekdays, what is your favorite meal to cook or to eat?
Oh wow. Hmm. During the week, because I go to work, my breakfast options are limited, right?
Okay,
So I don't get to explore and do as much as I want. Speaking of which, I do have an email plan, a 3 week
okay,
email plan, which I use myself and I also sell on my
that's
page.
cool.
So yeah, because I know that if I have a problem, then I'm not the only one with that problem. So if
Yeah,
as a mother, I'm thinking every day like, oh gosh, what should I cook? Then there are a dozen and or rather 1,001 other people out there also
yeah.
thinking of what to cook. So I have a meal plan, basically a meal timetable, and I use that as a guide to know what to cook every day of
Mm,
the week. So typically in the morning, I'm more of a sandwich person. So I'm going to probably be frying my eggs, making toast or something. But then in the afternoon, I can have me some rice, pasta and all of that. But dinner,
mm,
you see that dinner, that's the one that I balance and take my time to cook
mm,
because I'm back from work. I need to eat something really good to stay refreshed and rejuvenated against the next day.
mm,
So typically, you can find me if it's a weekday, like I said, breakfast, nothing serious. But if it's a weekend ahead, then you can find me cooking moi moi, in the morning. For lunch, I can make some poundo and egusi soup. Dinner, I can choose to make rice and ofada sauce. You get. So I pretty much just play around with food, and I don't restrict myself to only Nigerian meals. I cook other things as well, right? But yeah,
that is amazing.
that's yeah.
Thank you. I think we have someone, D2 Kitchen. Thank you. She just offered to make jollof rice for Kaylee Bicycle. So, Kaylee,
Yay.
Thank you, Tokwe of DN2 Kitchen, for taking up the challenge to cook for Kelly. After the live chat, I'm going to connect you to with Kelly and then arrange how Kelly will get to taste of your jollof rice. I can assure you that you are in for a good opportunity, for some kind of promotion, from Kelly. You get
Yeah,
to know her. Thank you so much for that opportunity and thank you for taking up the challenge. DN2 Kitchen, thank you so much. Now, talking in terms of the meal,
yeah.
which food do you find difficult to make? If there is a Nigerian dish or African dish, which meal do you find it? Oh man, this food, oh, it's too much stress. Which one?
Honestly, none. To be honest, none. Because I love to cook. Right? I find cooking. And to me, cooking is like an activity I do to relax. Do you
Mm,
understand? So I don't find anything too hard to make. Sometimes when my friend call me, there are days when maybe my timetable says make ofada sauce and rice, right? And some people already feel like ofada is such a hard work before you boil
yeah,
the meat, grill
yeah.
the pepper, do this, do that. I might end up cooking that ofada and rice for my kids, and I'll be like, you know what? I actually feel like eating a foriro and pound. And then
Wow.
I'll start making the foriro again. And so a friend maybe might just call me like, Ashali, what are you doing? I'm cooking. What are you cooking? Oh, I'm cooking. So. I just finished cooking. Like, only you, like, do you understand?
Yeah.
So seriously, I find cooking fun. It's interesting. And so, yeah, I don't see any meal as too big or
Mm,
too difficult for me to make.
mm.
And just to add to what you said earlier,
Go ahead, go ahead. You can just tell them.
Kelly is in for a treat. I have tried Topper's jollof rice.
Yeah,
So DN2 Kitchen is an approved AHS facility. She
yeah.
cooks from home, but our kitchen is licensed. And I've tried her jollof rice, and trust me, it's on another level. Like, Kelly, when you eat that jollof rice, that's like the real authentic jollof rice because it has that smoky feel. So, like, the Nigerian jollof has this smokiness to it, and that is what you're about to experience. So, I wish you all the best as you
And
try it. And
uh,
it's not so spicy
okay,
either.
I was going to say that please don't make it
No,
spicy. Now,
no.
okay, talking in
Yeah.
terms of food, I
Yeah.
remember my dad is from Ilesha, Osun State,
Okay.
and from the western part of Nigeria,
Nigeria, yeah.
going towards all those western parts, Ilesha, Oshun, Ekiti, Ondo, the rest. There's a particular kind of dish that they love to eat. The real original, man from that side, and
Mhm.
the meal takes a lot of energy and stress to make. In fact, I'm gonna you. I think you can guess where I'm going to. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of stress to prepare.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
Pounded
called
yam, hey.
pounded yam. Now, my dad of blessed memory eats pounded yam every day.
Oh
Now,
wow.
not the poundo all that we just there. No, the real yam boiled, put in the mortar and pestle, and
Immortal.
then like you're going to the gym because
Ah.
pounding yam is like gym exercise.
Mhm.
That food, how to you does it come easy or is difficult to make for you?
Okay, Larry, I love food, right? But I try to cook with ease. That's another thing, right? For pounded yam, thankfully we now have the food processor. Please, if you are watching and you're still pounding yam with pistol and mortar, I beg you, don't kill yourself. There's no award for who sabi pound pass.
No, if you are if
Boil
there's an
that
if
yam.
there's an Ekiti man watching, trust me, I know I have some from
So
family.
they will
They
bring the pistol
actually
and mortar to
shipped,
Canada.
yeah, they shipped
I've seen
pounded
that.
yam to Calgary.
What I'm trying to let them know is you don't have to. You can do it once in a while, right? But you can boil that yam, put it in a food processor, and then use the and press your buttons, right? Pretty much, right? On my blender, I think I put it on low dough, and so it just mix it up.
Will it be like that? Real pounded?
100% pounded yam. I kid you not. In fact, very smooth. It's not poundo flour. It is your
Yeah,
normal yam.
yeah.
Cut it in the slices you want, the way we normally cut it. Boil it. After boiling, put it in your food processor, and then you make it with the food processor, and it comes out the exact same way as would your yam pounded with a pestle and mortar.
You
So
know,
yeah.
if you are saying this to an African Ijesha or Ekiti man, I once heard one funny rumor, which I know it's so ridiculous, that
Hmm.
when you are pounding, the sweat that drops inside. also makes the food have a kind of, I don't know.
If
It
you
is the
want
most
to eat sweat, if you too much
crazy.
sweat and swipe inside the food processor, why should you stress somebody?
So that kind of food. I just heard a word from Kelly. Kelly said, "I'm so excited," and he said, "Go ahead." When I had and said, "I like spice." So
Oh,
the into
great.
kitchen, Kelly said she wants spice. So, but I'm sure not the kind of my level of spice or your level of spice. So you might want to, But I'm going to connect it to with Kelly, and then you get to talk. So
Yeah,
apart from traditional food that you cook, do you cook Igbo foods? Because in Africa we have
yeah,
regions, tribes,
yes.
different ethnicities.
Mm-hmm.
So in Nigeria we have Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. I know in Ethiopia, in Ghana, Kenya, they have different tribes too. So what other African food, or starting from Nigeria, what other food that is your favorite from apart from Yoruba dish? What other tribes in Yoruba or in Nigeria that is your favorite
I
that
like
you
white
enjoy cooking?
soup. I like
White,
white, which is ofe sala.
okay.
I like edika corn as well.
Hmm,
Yeah, I like afang.
hmm,
So yeah, it doesn't have to just be Nigeria Yoruba cuisines only, right?
hmm,
So yeah, I
hmm,
like yeah,
hmm,
I try other delicacies as well,
hmm,
and I can cook them.
hmm.
Speaking of which, I do sell e-recipes as well. So
I actually going to go into that. The next question in how will our audiences get to know, or how can they access those food recipe? Because I remember growing up in Nigeria, my mom used to have this timetable stuck on the fridge or the refrigerator.
yeah,
Monday breakfast, lunch, and it's like a
dinner.
kind of regimens I will go through, but it is fast, disappearing, in homes. And I think this is a very welcome idea to have this kind of recipe. And that tell us more about the recipe, so that by the time people are connecting with you, because this is the reason why we do this show to create that platform for people to get to know, the amazing work you're doing in the community. And then I have friends, just today I was in my friend's house, he's from Malawi. His wife
Okay.
is from Philippines. And just yesterday, I gave him a gift of a spicy sauce
Hmm.
made by my wife.
Okay.
And the guy was saying, and I went there today to go and do some other work, and he said, Larry, please, that sauce, please, are you selling it? He asked me directly that I need to get that kind of, and I said, oh, okay, I remember your wife cannot cook that kind of food. So there are individuals like that if they can get access to that kind of recipe, maybe they
Yeah.
can, because Canada it welcomes everybody. We have intermarriages between Nigerian, Chinese, Africans, Indians, all around, and
Yeah.
to make sure that everybody is well catered for. That is why we have this kind of show, and then bringing guests, with
Yeah.
experience and expertise. So tell us about the food menu, the recipe, and then how can our audiences get to access that, and how much, if you want
Okay.
to tell us. Yeah.
Okay. So I have the recipes that I made myself, and I sell them as well. And basically, the volume one has about 7 meals in it.
Okay.
So it teaches you like the step by step on how to make things like puff puff, which is one of the famous street snacks in Nigeria, how
Yeah.
to make ofada sauce, which is one thing a lot of people find difficult to make. So
Yeah.
it kind of tells you step one, do this, step two, do that, step three, do, detailed and all broken down. It teaches you how to make the Nigerian version of salad, the kind of ingredients we put together to give you that creamy, delicious, yummy salad that you can pair with your jollof rice, how
Mm.
to make gizzard suya. So I decided not to do just the regular suya. Actually, I have recipe for suya, which I had shared previously on my page. But in the ebook, what you find is how to make gizzard suya, which of course you can use to make your normal beef suya as well.
Mm.
How you can make peppered Nigerian proteins. That's also in the recipe. Then the
Yeah.
email plan, like Larry was saying, is more like a food timetable. So it's a guide as to what you can eat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday through the week, morning, afternoon, night, and it kind of embodies not just African cuisine. So it has the Nigerian food and some westernized food as well, or rather some intercontinental meals, so to speak.
Mm.
So I sell those on my page. My page is at the Yum Cuisine. It's the underscore Yum underscore Cuisine. And then you can just send me a DM, and then I would,
Can you just set
yeah,
that again so that I can put it on the screen for our audience? D underscore
the
T. Okay.
underscore
THE. Okay. THE
underscore
underscore
Yum YUM
A.
underscore Cuisine
Okay.
CUISINE. So
Okay.
yeah, if you'd message me by DM, I'm working on something that would enable people just be able to click and they can purchase. You just have to maybe put down your email addresses and I'll send it to you. But for now, you have to message me via my DM and
Okay.
be like, oh, I want to buy this, and then you'd pay for it by Interac, and then
Okay.
I would send it to you. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. I accept payments via PayPal as well. You can pay into my Naira account, so that is not a barrier. And that's the beauty of an e-product, because it can be used anywhere. So
Okay.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And
So,
yeah,
okay, go. Well, you mentioned that it is not just only Nigerian meals that can be found on the e-recipe. There's some other Western, cultural
meals, yeah.
meals that can be found as well on that. Now, to make it more juicy for our audiences, now it is not just the name, but the processes of how to make it. Are they included in the meal plan,
In the meal plan, no, the processes are not there, but
in
in
the
the
recipe?
e-recipe, you
Okay.
have some of those meals there. So I'm working on a volume 2, because some people have asked me, okay, Charlie, so I saw this on your in your meal plan. I don't know how to make it and all of them. Like, sure, I'm working on the volume 2 of the e-recipe. And so
Okay.
that would have like a lot of those things in there as well. Yes.
Hmm. That is amazing. That is wonderful. For all those who are joining us, this is still the Global Talkative Series with our guest, Shalewa Ono Yemi. And she's a content creator and a food blogger. And also, topic of discussion today is gastronomic cultures of African cuisine. And I want to appreciate those who are joining us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. George, Tim, Kwame, thank you. Andrea, thank you. Enola Faroshe, yeah, from Nigeria. Thank you. Sarawi, Sarah
Escofitas.
Epinas, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Aborishade Adams, thank you. Conrad Agla, thank you. Shegun Avelet Olede from Nigeria, thank you. Ellen Agboneson, thank you. Alabia Denekon, Ria Montana, Charles Osuji, Oluwadara Adeyemo, and for all of those who are still joining us on this Global Talkative series, I want to say thank you for joining us. We have about 5 minutes more to end today's live
Oh wow. Okay.
broadcast. So we have words from well done, Lanawaju Aborishade Adams. Thank you very much for those encouragements and encouraging words from all of our audiences all around. And thank you also once again to DN2 Kitchen for taking up the challenge to make a spicy jollof rice for Kaylee. Thank you,
Yeah.
and we hope to bring you some more, of this, challenge. In a closing word to our audiences. So, what will you say to those who are, just starting to come into this community, who have the passion to create food, but they don't know how to go about that? What words of encouragement, advice do you have for them? Because there's so many of them that they're looking for job, but the job is actually in their kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I love cooking. It is one of
Yeah.
the things I do. I cook, but when I cook for fun and to
Okay.
give to people. I don't have the passion to start cooking and sell it. I cook and I give to people. I just love cooking. Like I was saying the other time about pounded yam. After the
Mm.
exercise of cooking the pounded yam, I lost the appetite. I don't
Of
eat it.
course.
Of course, I'm
That's
doing
why
it
you
for my
have the
child.
gadgets now. Use your food
So
processor.
so for those who are still like okay in that process looking for a job, but they have the passion to cook, what word of advice do you have for them?
Okay, thank you for that question, Larry. Let me also use this opportunity to say that I promote brands, so I'm like a mini influencer in a way.
No,
So
there's no like mini
earlier,
mini influencer.
is mini was still
because
starting.
because
Wow.
we are now we have audiences from around the world, Nigeria,
Yeah.
Ghana, Kenya. So, and you have followers from all around the world. So, whatever you're doing, no matter how little, you're adding value.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I thank you so much. So I do my best to promote businesses with a main focus on food businesses.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, I did top 10 food entrepreneurs in Calgary. It was an initiative that was embraced by a lot of people. And thankfully, you were also one of our sponsors for that event. And through that program, we're able to, meet with a lot of food vendors, to be honest, those doing it, those aspiring to do it, and all of that. And one thing I would say, back to your question before I deviate, considering the time we have, is just go for it, really. Cooking should be something that you love to do. If you want to do it as a business, you need to have the passion for cooking. Otherwise, it will become stress.
Mm.
Because to cook is not easy, to be honest. Forget that
Yeah.
some of us enjoy cooking. Not
It's
everybody
a
loves
lot
to
of
cook.
work.
Yes. So if you're going to cook as a business, you need to have the passion for it and you need to do it right.
Mm.
Doing it right means that getting the necessary licenses that you require to do that. Because in as much as you want to make money, you don't want to, get caught up in what you shouldn't be caught up in. I failed to mention earlier, I'm an internationally trained lawyer. So I believe that whatever you're doing, do it legally and do it right.
Mm.
Right. So yeah,
Mm.
make sure you first step, do the food safety course. It's online, it's not so pricey, right? And it's accessible by anybody. If you have problems accessing it or finding it, send me a DM and you can easily do your course. You need to register your business because you want to ensure that you're separating the income from that business from your personal income, right?
Mm.
So that for your taxes, everything is easy and seamless.
Yeah.
If you want to register your business, you can go to the registry in any province you are, or you can send me a DM. I do have a link with owner.com that would give you about $50 off your registration fees,
Mm.
right? So yeah, that also works. And then you need to try to get your kitchen permits, right? So do those three things, and trust me, the community is there to support you. A lot of people, more and more people daily, are looking to buy African food,
Yeah.
right? Here in Calgary, personally, I know at least 20 to 40 food vendors,
Mm.
and I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
And there are more of them. You get, so you just need to start. And Calgary, for example, is big enough. You have different quadrants, so your customer is not somebody else's customer. People have the choice to try meals from anybody. So
Exactly.
at the end of the day, don't be scared that, oh, if I start I will fail, or if I start I won't make money. But just start, and just make sure you're doing it right. Get
Mm.
your licenses right, and then who knows, you might be the one to start that food chain that Larry and I were talking about.
Mm.
So don't be afraid to fail, just
That
start.
Yes, I want to give a shout out to Niger Jollof in Toronto. The woman is doing an amazing job. Like I'm saying on this show, nobody's paying me to do this. I just want to, promote and give visibility to our African businesses and our culture in a way to make our food popular, to be acceptable. Now,
Yeah.
the lady has done some amazing. I've not met her personally, but I follow her page, Niger Jollof in Toronto. She owns a store in a major mall in Toronto where you can have Nigerian food, and she started a second outlet some
That's
few
great.
months ago. So that is something which it's amazing, and which I want to encourage all of us as well. And for people in African, in people in the diaspora to put to
Mhm.
support local businesses,
Yeah.
especially African food businesses. They are making amazing food. Like I said, I've eaten from my care food. I've eaten DN2 Kitchen. I've eaten Flavors. I've eaten Delish Day. I've eaten Spoonly. I've eaten Spoonish. I've
Only
eaten sweet coconut butters. I've
cake.
eaten
Yeah.
cakes. I've eaten all. That is me. I wanna, even though I love to cook and I also love to go have a taste,
Yeah.
of all of that, and then to just, in a way to support each other, because we can either be our brother's killer or our brother's keeper.
Super.
And how do we do that? We can do that by either promoting, our kind, and giving them the necessary due publicity like we're doing now, or we
Yeah.
don't just talk about them. The sky is big enough for
For
each bird
everybody to
to
fly.
fly. We can
Yeah.
have 1,000 plane in the air at the same time, and they will fly solo without coming in contact with each other. The
True.
same thing. And one thing I want to say to all those who are creating food is we all have different area of expertise, the
Mm.
area which you are good at. If it's barbecue fish, if it's roasted corn, if it's
Oh,
pop pop, if it's meat pie, make sure that you master that area, because you can all you can just be you can master a particular brand,
yeah. And
and that
specialize.
can yes, that can be,
Like Aboki
oh,
Suya,
oh
for
yes,
example.
Aboki Suya, that's another good guy which I want to give a shout out to, Aboki Suya.
Suya, and do so well.
So thank you very much for our audience today for coming on this show. We're going to be timing out on Instagram right away. But here, I want to say thank you, Shalewa, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on today's Global Talkative series. I appreciate
You're
your time,
welcome.
and thank you once again, and congratulations on your wedding anniversary. You know,
Thank
God bless you. Thank you so much for coming, and to our audience all around the world, thank you so much. Bye for now. Thank you.
you, Larry. All right, bye. Yeah.